I kind of regret making a video about Annalicia, and I'm going to tell you why. And this is one of the things that has to be sorted out um, before even diving into the conversation, because it answers the question of where that type of anger was coming from. Going back to Annalicia being on Destiny with Abba from Abba and Preach, and them going back and forth about, what black men have and haven't done, and, our dysfunction and all that, right? Not even examining, what's going on with the women. I've already said I kind of have a slight issue with Annalicia, speaking on the topic, because a lot of the topic revolves around African Americans. I know that it spills, that, some of the gender war stuff does spill into other countries, around the globe. You see this in the UK now with, just pearly things, and so, anywhere you have black men and black women, you kind of have these discussions in the Western world. But, um, she's from Canada. That's another thing. And then on top of that fact, she's damn near a white woman. Apparently, one of her parents is biracial. The other parent, I think, is, from the Caribbean, or they might be both from the Caribbean. But then, even going further, she was adopted. So obviously there's some issues there. Um, I also often question when you get people who are, mixed or racially ambiguous. She considers herself a black woman, but I'm like, why don't you got any smoke for the white side of the clearly the white side of the family that, abandoned you? But that's a whole nother conversation. Um, she's only got smoke for black men, and namely, my guess is she's one of these light skinned women that probably got with a dark skinned dude. Her baby probably looks brown. People might even question, um, they might even question her about being the mother, because that's what happened to my grandmother. When my grandmother was walking around with my mother, they wouldn't believe that that was her mother. But anyway, um, so all of this anger is really predicated on the fact that she's a single mother. And that really does separate a lot of the conversations that you can have versus those that you can't. It also changes the dynamic of the type of energy that you're going to receive when speaking to somebody. Cap has pointed this out to me a long time ago. He's like, really, the only women that can listen to you are young women who haven't fucked up yet and don't have any kids. They can totally hear what you're saying because it doesn't hit them that way. A hit dog will holler. And so Annalicia is, she had a lot of issues. But one thing I will say that I do respect is she did try to do it the right way. She was married and then she got divorced, from my understanding. I don't know what the reasons are why she got divorced. I have my speculations, but the man that she married was the first man that she, had a sexual encounter with. So, she lost her virginity, to her husband. So, again, from what I can gather from the information and watching, several of these videos, her interview with, Jessica X, which I don't even know what happened to Jessica X's channel or whatever. You got Jessica X, and then you got, she went on some other dude's channel. I don't even watch his channel. And I'm going to speak on something that really irritates me about black men across the board. And this is one of the main reasons why I don't fuck with people say, oh, why don't you fuck with the black men on YouTube? And I guess, in all this time, it's just kind of one of them underlying things. Like, I felt like when it comes to black men on YouTube, I feel like Ice Cube when he went up on Bill Maher, and because Bill Maher had slipped up and said the N-word or something about black people, and Ice Cube was sitting there and he was like, I knew you was gonna fuck up. I knew you was gonna fuck up. And that's how I feel about all of the black men, all the other black male channels on YouTube. At some point in time, they're going to fuck up. They're going to be up there like BGS talking about, living a third world country lifestyle, and bitches sweeping dirt floors in Guatemala, and a black woman should accept that. Or they're going to, uh, you know, um, talk like Dennis when he tried to pull that bullshit about, I don't want to date a single mother, even though, I'm bragging about balling out of control, and then tries to bring his sons into it. Oh, I can't buy you a car if I'm dating single mother. I mean, just bullshit, bullshit. The shit with, being, 50 and change some years old and getting with 25-year-olds like Kevin, can't beat him off with a stick. And then the generalized, it's not about the money, brothers. And that's what this dude, I don't know his dude. I don't know. He got the Zorro mustache. You can go and watch the Jessica X clip. I did post it on my community tab. I'll post it again because I can't find the original clip. I have to go and look for it and all that other shit. Don't feel like doing it. Just want to, just cram this video out. But it's just he was doing the same thing. All the brothers that were on the panel were basically doing the same thing. Even the brother that called in and said he was a millionaire. It's the same thing. And the issue is you got to take the whole load. If you're talking about patriarchy, you got to take the whole load. Now, if a woman has a kid, yeah, chick, you got to come with your, with your end. You got to come with your 50% because that's not my child. You don't get to just, just stay home and just, I get to be a bad bitch and just stay home and look good. Unless you are just incredibly, fine, sixth the goddess level of fineness, then yeah, you might be able to get away with that. But if you are not that, you know what I'm saying? Like, or even in that lane, that category of beauty, nah, unfortunately, you just don't get to do that. Dude's gonna look at you like, yeah, chick, you cute, you all right, don't mind the kid and everything else. But the idea that you're just gonna be a stay-at-home wife and he doesn't have any kids with you, or he doesn't have any kids himself, like, no. And that's another thing. Like, a lot of the women, you keep entering conversations with childless men. If you are a single mother, stop entering conversations with childless men, because nothing's gonna happen, but you're gonna get your feelings hurt. It's just like when I addressed Taryn Guy years ago. She's got what, like 5 kids by 3 or 4 different men. And I prefaced that video. I am childless. I do curse. I don't know if some of y'all remember the video. Maybe I should whip that my response to her. I should whip that out of the archive. But yeah, if you're a woman that is, if you're in your 40s, you shouldn't be talking to 20 something year old black men and wanting to date and stuff like that, because they're going to rip you apart. You're an old hag to them. Okay. If you're if you're a single mom, you shouldn't be talking to childless people. You know what I mean? Because, at the end of the day, your value has depreciated. They got, in their minds, they got time, they got the whole life, a whole future ahead of them. They're brand new. You're not brand new. So I don't know why you engage in conversations, with those men, trying to get a generalized opinion about men from childless men when you are a parent. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people that, having these conversations with people that they shouldn't be having these conversations with. And a lot of you some of y'all, even some of the, women, they're very vain in that they like coming online. They like the attention. Oh, I still look good, everything else. And they'll like hide the fact that they have a kid. It's not at the forefront. Like, that is a major thing when you want to talk about men and relationships. This generation and below, or my generation, is not playing with the whole, millennials and zillennials. We're not playing with the stepdaddy thing. We're not doing that. Okay. And this goes right into where Annalicia was going. But before I get there, I want to say about the black men, this whole, again, another reason why I don't fuck with a lot of these brothers online. First off, like I said, the only 2 people that I've seen that have significant voices in the black manosphere that were making money. And I'm not saying that you don't have, working professionals in the comment section, but I'm talking about the brothers that are making video content. The only 2 brothers that were making money were Dennis Sperling and lead attorney. I don't know lead attorney's government name, don't care. But I'm saying those are only two brothers that were making money. Kevin Samuels was broke before he came online. Freaking, and everybody else, literally everybody else. Dudes are running around having these arrogant conversations, and they weren't working professionals before they came online. They literally, they might have went to college, they graduated college, they had plans to do something else. But then they monetized their channel, the money started coming in, they started saying, hey, I can make more money doing this than I could ever do, and I got the financial freedom and all that, not exchanging money for time and everything else. And so they went that route, which really puts them in this bubble, this unique bubble in terms of having freedom and time and giving advice on relationships with regular people that have regular jobs and 9 to 5 and don't have all the free time in the world, when it comes to developing relationships and everything else. Like, a working man, you just can't cancel on him like that. Like, chick, I gotta tell them ahead of time. I gotta schedule it in some way. At least give me a week's heads up that, maybe I'll leave work early on Thursday or something like that. Like that's more normal people shit. But you got guys up here that have made money, are successful now because of YouTube, and they're talking like they've been running Fortune 500 companies for the last 15 years. It's bullshit. Like the brothers need to chill, with some of this arrogance that they got going on. Because I'd shut that shit down real quick. And what were you doing before this? Oh, I was da-da-da. Yeah, you wasn't doing shit. You're making money off of YouTube now. Now you have money to talk shit and flex and everything else. But you didn't have it before when you came to the internet with all the previous problems that you were having with black women or any other fucking woman. Because you were broke. So stop the cap. The other thing, and this is really a problem with, the black community and culture, and there's all type of adjusted pathologies that we have adapted to, like, when it comes to how we function and how we operate. There's a lot of black men, game is a skill. It is a skill. And yes, there's many other communities, Indians, Africans, with, I'd argue, the exception of Nigerians, Asian community, where, they're so focused on money and resources, and you ain't shit until you have this title or make this amount of money, and that the kids are trying to get the best scores possible so that they can, get into the best university so that they can run around with the prestige, and they don't have to have game. Like, I make the joke all the time. Bitch, do you know who I am? Bitch, do you know what family I come from? Do you know what my pedigree is? Bitch, come here. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to do that. Like, I got freaking Pakistani friends that literally brag about being American citizens and, having all this prestige and shit, and I could go back to Pakistan anytime and show up into one of these village bitches and pull the baddest bitch in the land. Because not only does my family have money, but we're American, and so we got all that shit, right? So they don't have to have game. It's like, bitch, I can lift you up out of poverty. I can lift your whole family up out of poverty, as a matter of fact. And the father and the mother and all that whole side of the family, her side of the family, will be encouraging her, like, bitch, you gonna marry this nigga. Like that's just what it is. But in the black community, with all of the, the poverty and the white supremacy and the Jim Crow and everything that black people went through, a lot of black men didn't have gainful employment, didn't have a lot of these resources. And I'm talking really, post 1950s. This is after the purging of black communities like Tulsa, and then the destruction of black communities and the demolishing of black communities where urban renewal and running highways through them. So you start getting into the late 60s and into the 70s, where really all the gang culture and bastards of the party and the welfare state and the decline of the black family took place. Black men started to develop the skills of game, just strictly game, talking women out of their panties. This is why, People wanted me to respond to the Annalicia up there with the black dude from No Jumper. I don't know what black and mild nigga from No Jumper. I don't watch No Jumper. I don't care for the show. I take issue with I take umbrage. I take umbrage with these shows that have these white hosts like Vlad or the white dude Adam 22. All that shit that they're capitalizing off of black spaces and black conversations instead of black people having these conversations with themselves. A whole bunch of inappropriate behavior and off-code shit. Okay, you don't see the Indians having these conversations like that about their community with white folks. You don't see Arabs having these conversations, about their community with white folks. You know what I'm saying? But black people still running around trying to get that pat on the head, trying to be accepted and shit, that we go out here and we openly discussing all our problems with other people. You know what I mean? I like there's certain times where I will tolerate it, for like the people that are scholarly and really invested in, explaining, the black experience and shit like that and dealing with racism, like, what's the woman's name? The white woman, Jane, the anti-racist one that did the blue eyes, brown eyes thing, Tim Wise, folks like that. Scholarly people that go to universities and speak on this shit. But when just nigga shit, like just going up there, oh, what's the latest shit? Let's gossip about, what rapper got killed this week. Like, no, that's some off code behavior. And again, if anybody's going to make money and capitalize on it, it should be other black people. But I digress. Moving forward. So I'm saying the brother that's on No Jumper, he called in Destiny's show with his black and mild voice. Hey, sweetie. Hey, what's going on, sweetie? And I'm like, see, like, that's why I can't stand a lot of you inner city street niggas. Okay? Because you guys think that by spitting some game, oh man, see, this is the mentality. Oh man, see, all I gotta do is see, she got attitude, she got problem and everything, and she angry. That's cause the nigga ain't laid some pipe to her the right way. Everything is always about laying some pipe to a bitch. Oh man, when I run this dick up in her, you know what I'm saying? There's that bitch gonna act straight. Some old childless 15-year-old bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she giving me attitude now, but wait till I run this dick up in her. And I'm saying this dude is a grown ass man, got kids, sound like a grown ass man, sound like he like he wakes up in the morning, first thing he want to do is smoke a black and mild. And she said repeatedly, don't come at me with that sweetie bullshit. I'm like, this nigga really tried it. Like, he really came up there and said a whole bunch of nothing. A whole bunch of nothing. I can't stand these type of niggas. And they think, oh man, I'm gangster. Don't you see the tattoos on my forearm? Nigga, I don't give a fuck. Your conversation is trash. And not only that, it only reinforces what the women already fucking believe. That you don't come with any goddamn substance. Hey, sweetie. Go back and listen to that bullshit. And then Fanatic came on, which was greatly appreciated, and whoever the Fanatic dude is, man, I don't blame you for losing your fucking cool. You know what I mean? Because her ridiculous over talking was it was insane. The shit was insane. Like, even I was like, bitch, shut the fuck up and let the man respond. I mean, it was insane. With the shit that Annalicia was doing. Now, getting all of that out the way, I'm just saying, this whole attitude of, black men who think that they can game their way through everything, running around saying it's not about the money, or it's like even the dude that she was having a conversation with that Jessica X did the review of, he was on some other show, talking the same dumb shit, telling a brother that it's not. A brother came on talking about it's really about the money, and then he's up there saying, that it's really about your confidence and shit, that, and if you didn't have the money and talking to a chick, no, brother, that's not what it's about. What I want to see, and this is where brothers are fucked up. Even the millionaire dude that went up there on Jessica X's show. It's like, if you got it like that and you're talking about you got it like that, y'all need to accept the responsibility of taking on the full load. When you got a woman in front of you talking about, first off, she's already on her bullshit, smash the patriarchy, doesn't like patriarchy, that's what the problem is, black men are weak, black men ain't built nothing, da-da-da-da-da. And you got your ducks in a row, and she challenges you with whatever it is, community responsibility, yeah, we should be doing that. And when it comes to being in a relationship, again, if she was childless, yeah, you got to talk about taking on the full load. First off, even if you don't even believe in that, just say for 5 seconds, I'm saying all this shit is being recorded. All of it is live. I want to see these bitches squirm because I already know, right? Despite the fact that a lot of brothers that I've just addressed are fucked up and full of shit on bullshit, I'm like, no, again, I want to see how she responds when you drop an established brother in front of her. And that's where you're going to see all the squirting. Now, when it comes to Annalicia and her talking points, the more you listen to her, I'm like, this chick is really a feminist. Like, you ain't really, like, what you're throwing up is you're throwing up busy assignments. And sisters, I have to say, you got to understand that it is very difficult to identify or separate out the women that they have no intention of following a man or getting with a man's program, despite wanting him to provide every fucking thing. They have no intention. Okay, and they'll use the community is broken and as an excuse and run with it to justify their lack of cooperation. If you ask me, that's the primary reason why whoever her ex-husband was, that's why he ain't with her, because she wouldn't follow. I mean, hell, she can't even control herself to shut up long enough. She'll sit there and ask a question, and then when the person responds, she interrupts them. I'm like, if that's how you conduct yourself in your relationship, I know why this motherfucker ain't with you. I know why he left your ass. But the other women, like I don't know where these women, black women, are that are like, hey, I'm looking for a black man that's a true patriarch, handle business. I'm attracted to masculine men. I'm a feminine woman, and it ain't no chameleons here, ain't no hyenas here, ain't no fake shit here. This is what I'm looking for. I don't know where these women are. Even women that are down for it, but say, hey, but I'm gonna need y'all to make the community safe so that I can move around the community. I'm with you 100%. That is black men's responsibility. I'm with you 100%. But then you got this other third segment of women that I'm going to still be over here with Ray Ray and Pookie and the productive males. And you productive males need to go and fix the community and make it a better space and place for me to have my relationship and children with Pookie. I'm saying fuck that bitch too. I'm like, you do have to get with, I don't know, expect how you're going to have an intact community and you're not even getting with the men that take on the responsibility. It's not even in your mind to do so. But yet you're going to come online and file complaints. Bitch, fuck you too. And this is where, all these problems come, like they overlap and shit. And I'm like, how do you separate out the real from the fake? How do you separate out the women that are presenting busy assignments and the women who literally are like, you need to check Pookie with his dick in her mouth? You know what I mean? Really think him. He's misogyny. You know what I mean? She up there, not misandry, misogyny. She's talking about misogynoir, literally with the dude that's slapping her up's dick in her mouth. You need to check him. He's not taking care of his kids. Acting like they can't separate and distinguish, black men. Oh, y'all sure as hell know how to separate and distinguish when it comes down to whose dick you want to sit on and whose you don't. You definitely know how to distinguish when it comes to that shit. Who you want to date, who you're attracted to, who you're not interested in. Oh, it's crystal clear as it pertains to who you're into and who you're not. Then they want to act like, it's all the same. Oh, I just couldn't tell because, all black men are the same when they're only dating not only the top 10% of dudes or the dudes that they perceive to be in that top 10%, whether they got money or whether they're just swagnificent, or, they're just dating just nothing but a whole line of pookies. If you look at most people don't deviate from whoever got in there first and blew their mind, that's usually what they stick with. They're always trying to find, a similar version of the last dude. The last dude had tattoos. The next dude needs to have tattoos. The last dude was, 7 foot tall. The next dude got to be 7 foot tall. You know what I mean? Like, you get in that pattern. Dudes do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like they get in the pattern of every bitch looks like the last. It's like, okay, all right, I get it. Now I see what you like. Okay? The dude that's running around, big booty key. All the girlfriends are big booty Keisha. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, damn, oh, you don't date nothing. Yeah, man. That's my thing, man. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, long hair, short hair, light skin, dark. Nope. She got to have a ginormous, them niggas that like them ginormous sloppy asses. It shit ain't even nice. You know what I mean? Like, she got a pear shape. She's small in the waist, and you're like, yes, it's kind of attractive, but it's like one of them things like you wouldn't like it looks good in the jeans, but don't look good outside the jeans. You know what I'm talking about? Them niggas that like that shit, and they try to act like it's the most hellified shit in the world. And it's like, yeah, she does have a shape, and yeah, she probably would be a bad bitch if she lost freaking 60 pounds, nigga. Like, damn. You know what I mean? But, there's always those dudes out there. But, I'm just saying, Annalicia, being a single mom, I'm like, that's where all this anger is coming from. And I know where I wanted to go with this video. Like, just talking about, like, her type of women in philosophy. And Cap sent me a video on Kidology, and she's talking about femcells. And there's a lot of history in there when it comes to, like, feminism and like some of these like more secretive underground movements within feminism, and then the new waves and all of the different groups. She said it's all over the place, which I agree with. We've seen it. There's all different types of disagreements. You got your more feminine women, you got your women that are promoting LGBT, because one of the theories of one of the women, what's this woman's name? Hold on. This woman is Shulamith Firestone. That's her name. I'm guessing she's Indian. Is she Indian? Shulamith Firestone. She's Canadian radical feminist writer activist. Okay, so, and then she moved to New York. She died in 2012. But her whole thing is like, no qualms about it. Radical feminist. Yeah, her whole thing is basically, promoting lesbianism to smash the patriarchy, political lesbianism. It's all different type of wild shit that like we didn't like. I like, this is not what I thought was going on in the background. I was totally unaware of this shit. And it even speaks to, why I say a lot of the community is bullshit. All this shit started in white patriarchy and whatever power the white patriarchy had. And then other women, being that the white patriarchy sets the pace and the tone because they're the dominant patriarchy in the world. All the other women that have issues, they start complaining, and then they can use the idea that, you're not as powerful as them, so why should I submit to you and all that shit. But at the end of the day, these are women that they have a concept. Like, it's not like there's there's a lack of an exchange. You know what I'm saying? Like, how I'm gonna put this? Like I think that the women that are that I think that there are more feminists that don't want to follow, period, than the women that are like, I'm not getting anything out of this. There's a lack of exchange. That's why, I'm not submitting to you. I think that that group of women is in the minority. I'm not saying it don't exist. I think they're in the minority. I think we got a whole bunch of belief system that goes on in this matriarchal mindset. Everything from the justifications of the Wombiverse, to ancient Africa, divine female principles, all that stuff. When you're going back to ancient Africa, I'm like, what does that have to do with the community being broken? Your argument is that that African women are somehow unique and that they're always like we've always been a backwards oriented community. And that patriarchy has never been a thing in the black community. And that patriarchy only came about when powerless black men decided that they abandoned the divine female principles and then decided that they wanted to imitate white men. Which I always find curious because it's always comes down to, imitating white male responsibilities, but not the leadership, right? Black male responsibilities devoid of leadership. Right. And then see, this is where the confusion comes in, where you get these women that are trying to create this patchwork quilt of things that they want and don't want. You know what I mean? Or women who are beautiful versus those that are not. Women that are beautiful can play the patriarchal role, even if they're a feminist, when they so decide. Right? If they're attractive enough. A number of these guys in all of their glorious colorism were up there with Annalicia talking about how fine she is. And obviously they want to run their dick up in her. Right? But if she wasn't fine, if she looked like Stacey Abrams, they would be like, oh man, bitch ain't shit. You know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying? So the conversation will be completely different. But because they want to dick her down, and she can use her femininity in order to, attract men and whatnot, which she's aware of, because when she gets up on the camera, you know what I mean? She'll have her hair done, she'll have her makeup done, and all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, chick, you are here for the looks. You are here. Ain't nobody gonna tell you that you are not attractive or that you're ugly or some shit. Like, ain't nobody gonna tell you that shit. You know what I mean? So she's much a part of playing that game as much as the dudes are with their obvious thirst. But the women, what about the women that can't play that game? This is the whole for Harriet argument. What about the women that and it was so funny? Like, and I've had a number of brothers say this shit in my comment section. Yeah, motherfuckers. Yeah, is for Harriet a supermodel? No. Are there dudes that are going to be like, for Harriet ain't shit and she don't look like nothing? Yes, there's going to be dudes that are like that. But I have had more than my fair share of brothers coming to my comment section when I talk about videos about for Harriet, and I'm saying, even on her Instagram, if you go way back in her Instagram, before, because she was like, first off, her body ain't even that bad. But anyway, and I'm saying in certain hairstyles fitted her more than others. But anyway, I'm saying she went through, she was, there was outfits that she was wearing, dresses and stuff. I was like, okay, it's cute. You know what I mean? And it doesn't necessarily mean she's going to win any beauty contest. But, the whole, like, every dude is going to kick her out of their bed. Like, nah. Then, she had her not wearing makeup phase. You know what I mean? And then she, smash the patriarchy, all that shit. Then she went to her, I'm wearing makeup and I'm dolled up because I got money now and I'm gonna get me a maid and shit like that, and luxury this and luxury lifestyles and all this other shit. I'm like, bitch, weren't you supposed to be anti-luxury, anti-capitalism? Hey, when that happens, yeah, I'm like, weren't you supposed to be like anti-luxury and anti-capitalism? So it's like all over the place. It's like depends on where the women are that determines, like how they're gonna feel about some shit on a particular day. But basically, and this is the big thing that I've noticed consistently about a lot of these women that take this position. Okay, and it's not only just the women want power thing, and it's like they have penis envy, but also the fact that once you become a divorced woman, a baby mother, once you have a child, yeah, the sexual market the value does go down. The idea of having to get resources from a man in a situation where your sexual market value is down, so everything turns into, we must get resources from the government. Right, we already don't, like, if on top of a woman being a feminist, they don't want to get those resources from a man, right? Because they think that creates too much too much dependence and facilitates abuse. But then they want to get it from the government, right? So then they start talking. This is why you see more black women running around being Democrats and all that stuff. Because, and I've talked about this before. White women being attached to white men that own businesses. You know what I mean? They ain't not about to undercut. Hey, chick, I got a company, and Republicans are talking about less taxes. If you want that new Escalade that I was going to buy or that new Wagoneer, you know what I mean? You know, you got to vote. We got to double these Republican votes. You know what I mean? It's kind of stupid with not that I'm against women's suffrage, but it is kind of stupid when you think about it in terms of the fact that you have a man, if a man votes one way and a woman votes another way, they have essentially nullified their vote. You know, I mean, in order to have change in order to have change in a society that benefits families, whatever party is doing something that's going to benefit families, the wife and the husband have to vote in the same way. That's 2 votes as opposed to a nullified vote, which equals 0, right? And then this is where the Democrats come in with their whole model of busting up the family, which they've essentially done to the black family, where they come in and now we have all these single mothers out here. And we got single black mothers and we got single white mothers. That's been on the rise. Nobody wants to talk about that. They only talk about the black community, and we've had double-digit single mothers and over 50% and da-da-da-da-da. And the white community is hovering right around 50%. You know what I mean? So you got a lot more white women out there. You know, the white people that the far right wants to call Antifa. You got, the radical feminists, the women up there, in front of abortion. Yeah, like that's what you see over there, which is why the Democrat Party is not really the party for black people, because the Democrats, they're trying to support so many different interest groups. You know what I mean? Like where do black people fall in that? You see what I'm saying? They got to support the LGBT. They got to support the feminist women. They got to support, the other minority groups and shit like that, right? And make it all about minorities, when, again, the whole reason why minorities get anything in this country is because of black people. But yet somehow black people get kicked to the back of the line. Let me not get political, but I'm saying this is what is going on with, Annalicia's position, of, the government. We need to change. And then it goes from being a political thing to being a more amorphous, societal revolutionary shift, where, yeah, politics are baked in there, but we need a societal shift. And that's where you come in with the starting in the schools, right? We don't want guns. So let's talk about, how guns are a problem and the Second Amendment ain't shit. And we're going to start in the schools so that we'll have a generation of David Hoffmans and shit. Not David Hoffman. What's that boy's name? That boy that is it David Hoffman? What's that boy's name? The March for Our Lives. What's that kid's name? Hold on. March for Our Lives. What's that boy's name? David Hogg. That's his name, not Hoffman. David Hoffman. I think David Hoffman's. He's the guy that has all those old videos on YouTube, the black and white ones and shit like that. But yeah, David Hogg. Okay, so they want more David Hoggs. If you want to be anti-Second Amendment and you want to have more, young white men say that we don't need no stinking Second Amendment because, mass shooters and shit like that. Yeah, you want to create more David Hoggs. You want to freaking, instill that in the schools. And if you want more there to be this, egalitarian, sort of society where there's gender fluidity and everything else like that. Yeah, you're going to teach the gay BCs in school and all that other shit, right? So there's more of a, as the far right likes to call it, a Marxist approach, which I swear, at least people throw these terms around and they don't even really know what the definitions mean. But there's more of a, a brainwashing going on at the child level so that when they grow into adults, you can have a shift, because instead of asking people to come out and vote, you've already shifted their belief system, right? It's just like, for example, in the state of New Jersey, there is no gun culture. There's no hunting, right? So you get rid of the hunting, right? And then you tell people, oh, the police are here to protect you. Who needs a gun? You're only crazy if you need a gun, right? So you kill the culture. So now in Jersey, The mere sight of a gun will have, women, clutching their pearls, soccer moms screaming, running in fear and shit like that. Where versus you go into, Pennsylvania, or you go into Georgia, or you go into Florida, you know what I mean? It's like everybody's packing. It's just it's just what it is, right? Or if somebody sees a gun, even if they're not the type to carry a gun, they're like, yeah, that's normal. Like 20% of the people walking around, they're gonna have it on them, right? So you make a cultural shift. It's a cultural war, and it starts with the minds of people, right? Right? So just like with Christianity and proselytizing, or Islam and proselytizing, right? If you want the world to be more Muslim, you got to get to the children and give them more Qurans. If you want the world to be more Christian, you got to get to the kids and, get them to read the Bible and get them in the church and get them in there, make it a way of life, right? Get those nerve endings and those brain cells, to form those really strong, hard connections. And then it's going to be easier when you get up to the political level and you say, hey, do you want to vote for this? And it's already a part of who they are, their identity, their lifestyle. And then that's how you get to do it. That's why, when you look at politics where it is now, it is really away from true intellectualism. It's anti-intellectualism. It's emotions and all this other shit and feelings and whatnot. But the very clever people, they're using other people to get what they want out of it. Brainwash other people into focusing on the more symbolic and intangible things. And then that will allow us to get what we want once we get our political party in power that serves us and what we want. And so it's this long, drawn out process. Okay. And so in terms of what you see with the, changing words and changing language and all this other shit that people like Nappy-Headed Ahoba likes to talk about, right? When you start doing all this, T Noir, she's another one, right? When you start doing all that, right, and getting people to say, do you overstand? Not understand, brother, overstand, right? You start going in and changing the definitions of things. It's like before, when I came on the internet, it was you were either straight or you were gay. That was it. Straight, gay. And people might have entertained something with like queer, even though they didn't know what that just meant. Like, okay, you swing both ways. Real simple, right? But now you have fucking 33 flavors of LGBTQ, like it's goddamn Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Now straight people, we're no longer straight. No, we're heteronormative cisgendered. That's what we are. You see, changing the language. Because once I get you to be heteronormative cisgendered, now you're no longer the center of the universe. Now you're no longer the norm. Now you're just one of the 33 flavors. Even though 99.99% of people are fucking straight. So that's how that comes in. And the same thing happens, in terms of the radical feminists. Come in, change the language. Curb the language. Once you change the language, then, you can come in with all of these, other ideas and other concepts and shift popular opinion towards your agenda, which is what? To get women who are not married, resources to the point that they don't need a man. Now, the radical feminists, they want that just because. The single mothers, they want that because now they're single mothers. They have children to take care of. So, there's a different, in other words, a woman doesn't have to be a radical feminist to be a single mother who needs help and assistance and resources. Right? And remember, the government is not in the day-to-day lives of a single mother. A man is, especially, again, with the whole patriarchy thing and all the other stuff. But the thing is some women don't understand. It's like the weird thing about women is, even if I give you the highest position, the way that women are, and this is the funny thing, they'll be like, and women and sexism, and we need more feminists, and we need to see female CEOs. And okay, fine, here, you're a CEO. And you know what her argument will be? And nobody will date me, and I want to be able to date up. You're the CEO. There's no higher position than you. The only person you can date now is God. I mean literally. And their whole, they don't get that part. Like they go against female nature because they're so focused on power and everything else. This is why the woman was encouraging the political lesbianism, going on to the video that Kidology is posted, that I'm still currently listening to, right? To go in that direction. Now she's talking about femcells. I haven't listened to all of it. I got to finish it out because I know that there's more to it than just that. But that was just something that I picked up on when she was laying it out. Because like I said before, that a lot of women want hypergamous equality. They want to be in a position of power, but then they want to somehow date up. And I'm like, well, if you were to date up, then that's not hypergamy. I mean, that's not equality. That's hypergamy. But then when they get into a hypergamous relationship, then it becomes a problem, because then it's like, I'm not attracted to him anymore. Why? Because he's weak. He's beneath me. I want a man that I can look up to and respect. It's like, God damn. But again, the higher women go, the smaller that pool gets. And the more arrogant that those men can actually be who are in that position, because all women want them because they're in the top 10%. So a lot of the stuff, a lot of the egalitarian equality idealism that women have goes completely against their female nature. Completely against the shit. And women are always seem narrowly focused on themselves. You heard me first time, aka Gotta Me Kidding Me, said it a long time ago. She said women are never going to support or do anything that does not support their interests directly. Now I'm throwing in the directly part, because the men can deal with and accept things, and we've talked about this. Dr. T. Johnson has talked about this, with men advocating for things that have to do, this sort of flat blackness, the things that have to do with the entire black community as a whole. But black men are waking up to the fact that, black women for a very long time, it's about them. It's about what black women they are their own demographic. I said that shit when I first came online. I was saying that shit. I telling Cap that all the time. I'm like, it's like black women are a different category. They're separate from us. They're not one and the same. And now people are, now people have the language for it. People recognize it more, again, and I mean, nothing could no further exemplify that than Ice Cube when he was up there on Cocktails with Queens with Claudia Jordan and Vivica A. Fox, and Lisa Ray, and the way that those, especially Vivica A. Fox, was attacking him. When he's talking about the black, and where are black women in all of this? Damn, like you could write, if you could write, whatever you want in there. I don't know exactly what the specifics of what you all want, but you could put it in there. This is about the whole community. You are black, right? Like the fact that he even had to say that demonstrates, just how much, the black man and the black woman have drifted apart, and the the liberals have obviously capitalized on that. But as you saw with, Stacey Abrams' loss, it has cost them, because black men are awake and aware of that at this point. But I'm just saying that, where we are now and listening to these women, there's two things, I'm going to, make sure you identify first. I'm going to make sure I identify first. Okay. Are you a single mother? Do you have any kids? It's the first thing you need to identify. And then the second thing that you identify is, how they feel about patriarchy. It'll come out. Old cat food classic tactic. Let them talk. They will give enough rope to hang themselves. Let them talk. Every time they do it. They did it right there on that Don Nicoleone show. In all matriarchies, the woman gives him his kingship. I'm sorry. Let me acknowledge what you just said. In all matriarchies. In other words, I didn't know that's what we were talking about, chick. I didn't know that that's what you were on. even though she was hinting at it the entire time. 2 captains on a ship, right? He assumes the position. He becomes king of the household. Men do not become king of the castle in other people's shit, as Captain Solo so eloquently stated. You see, so you got to know what you're dealing with. This is why language is very important. And don't assume, don't assume. It's 2 things that we shouldn't assume. Don't assume that just because you're using the same word, it means the same thing. I know it's retarded, but women do that shit. Same bullshit that they do where they're like, how many people have you slept with? 2. I'm like, well, your best friend told me that you slept with 10. Oh, he didn't count because we used the condom, and he didn't count because it was just a one night stand, and he didn't count because we were in a relationship, and he didn't count. Like, it's like, so women do shit like that. Just know that, okay? And then the other thing is don't assume that all these women wanted to be, housewives and provided for and to play any sort of traditional role. Okay. Unfortunately, and I'm not going to sit there and say I don't think it's due to, the dynamics of the black community. I do think that deindustrialization, black communities being bulldozed and ran highways through and burned down to the ground. We don't have any real true solid examples of strong patriarchal black communities with main streets and businesses on either side owned, operated, and controlled by black men. So both black men and black women did not grow up seeing, that sort of community dynamic. Okay. So I'm not saying that it's not that, I'm not saying that I think that it has something slightly to do, not even slightly. It has something to do with that. Is if we're going to have an honest conversation about relative to other communities. Okay. That's not to blame black women, but by the same token, black men are not inaccurate in their statement when they are properly patriarchally oriented and ready and willing to take on the whole load. And they're like, from a cultural standpoint, pound for pound, black women are less wifey material in the traditional patriarchal sense than other races of women. They're not wrong in saying that. Now, some people will argue that it's foul for black men to abandon the black woman and all this other stuff. I'm like, a black man has no choice but to abandon the black woman if your belief is still matriarchal. If your attitude is, hey, I'm really trying to get with the program, but I do need you all to fix X, Y, and Z. That's a totally different conversation. Now the onus is on black men to fix those problems. But like I said, if you're truly a feminist, no, motherfuckers are not going to do it for you when all you're doing is presenting busy assignments. And then for the other women that, they're all into black men, but I'm like, and you're not going to be sitting on the lap of the dude that's not doing anything while we're all outside shoveling snow out this driveway so that we can all get our cars out. That ain't going to happen either. You need to be getting with the guys that are fixing the shit and actively repairing the shit. On top of the fact that that's how you reinforce, what many of these young men want to be. Because yes, women and pussy is a big motivator. It's a big motivator. Why do you think these young men out here like, I want to be a drug dealer? You know what I'm saying? I want to be a boss. I want to be out here in these streets. Why? Because all those young men are getting all the women. Plain and simple. Study, go in the library, get your education. Why? I can go out here, get this fast money, and I'm gonna have way more bitches than you got. And I got the theme music behind it. Right? The whole lifestyle. Ooh, it's exciting. Oh, we over here getting shot at. Oh, it's all cute until them bullets start ripping through your flesh. So, um, this is where we are. Just saying, this is where we are. There's a lot of hidden agendas that these feminists got, and and now black men are aware of that fact. They're aware of the sucker position of, being a stepdaddy. They're aware of that. They're aware of women, who have no intention of being with a man, only want the resources and plan on, get with a dude that has resources, divorce his ass, take half his money, and then go run off and do whatever the fuck you want to do. Y'all got a problem with that shit, So we're aware of that. We're aware of, go get with the fuck boy that you're actually attracted to and desire, and gives you all those emotional highs and shit like that. And then when you get stuck with a baby, go out here, play the victim, and then try to get some sucker nigga to come through and again play the stepdaddy position. We're aware of that. We're also aware of, the women with the busy assignments. Have no intention of getting. They just don't want you running around putting down black women, even though black women are nothing that you could do with as a patriarchal man. They just don't want to hear you saying, well, this group of women is better than sisters, and they don't want to hear all that shit. So they're going to sit there and charge you with what they can charge you with, which is that you lost the race war. And you ain't never had nothing, and da-da-da-da-da. And they will embellish and exaggerate and everything else. Because like I said, it's funny because white people sure as fuck demolished and burned down a whole bunch of shit that black men ain't never apparently built. So all these things men are now aware of thanks to the internet. All the games that people play, they're all right there for all to see. And so, all women do is they get exposed when they try to pretend like nobody sees it, but we see it. And then not only that, other people are sharing information. Ray and Pookie and Lames may not like each other, right? But, they listen to each other, put each other on game. You know what I mean? Styles has put street dudes on, Lames on game. You know what I mean? Captain Solo has put street dudes, on game. That game goes in both ways, especially helping street dudes understand that, there is no real power in pipe laying. Not saying that having game, spitting game isn't a skill, but there's no power in that. The dudes get it twisted. And then when they get older, then they get it, and she's got her ducks in a row and everything. Now they getting emasculated. Now they just an old nigga who can't run out in them streets anymore, hollering at young females. Again, yeah, when you're 25 and you're spitting game, yeah, that's cute. But when you're, 60 and you're trying to spit game, no, you're just a creepy old man. You're just a creepy old man. Hell, the lingo's not even the same. The words you use aren't even the same. You don't even know what she's talking about. So, these sorts of things. So, you just got to understand, you can't fuck your way to the top. You can't fuck your way into positions of power, especially as a man. But, yeah, bottom line, we got way too many single mothers in the community. And so because, unfortunately, of the reality of, there's no real do-overs. There is no, course correction. When men fall into homelessness, you know what I'm saying? There's no course correction for them. He's broke and he's dusty. No women are checking for him. He most likely will be in that position until the day that he dies. And you'll have women, once you point that out, oh, we got to change society. We got to bring, they only want to bring in the men when it's brought to their, attention after they slip into the undesirability bin. There's no concern about men until it's brought to their attention to try to get more men on board only after the women fuck up. Only after they have kids with the wrong dude. I keep trying to say it. The most important decision that you will ever make in your life is who you have a child with. That is the absolute most important decision that you will ever make in your life. I could argue when to have a child and who you're having the child with. So y'all out here, not vetting, y'all run around my body, my choice, our decision, Roe v. Wade, all this other crap. Y'all run around, y'all got way more say than a man has. And have had it. And when you look at how black women have used, that they've used it horribly, irresponsibly. You have final say on who you lay up with. Again, women determine who gets sex. Men determine who gets married. So I can't think of anything else that I want to say. I think I'll end this video because, I like to keep it an hour or less, because even I struggle with some of you people making, 2.5 hour videos, 3 hour videos, 4 hour lives and shit. Like, I can't get through all that shit. As much as I want to, as much as I could throw my little earbuds in and listen and go and do other shit and everything else, because that's what I do most of the time. Most of the time, I don't even, y'all be, that's what people be sitting around like, nah, you gotta have all these graphics and all this other shit and everything else. If y'all do got graphics and shit like that, I don't see that shit half the time. I'm just listening to what people are saying. I ain't got time to sit there and give you my full undivided attention. I got other shit to do. But you start getting into, 2.5 hours, man. That's where I start getting fatigued, or I gotta break that bitch up. 2.5 hours I can do over more than one day. 40 minutes here, 40 minutes there. I can get that done in like 3 days or whatever. Actually, no, not 3 days. 40 minutes. Usually I'll finish it out. I'll be like 40 minutes, and then like, I'll finish out like the next like hour and change or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, some of y'all with these long ass and not getting to the point. That's another thing that irritates me. Or not saying anything like, okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. Like, at least have some crumbs of points to lead up to your bigger point, to where like you can all put it together. But a lot of people, man, they just be fucking smelling the roses before they get to the point. And I'm like, I can't listen to this shit. It's just certain people. Anyway, it's like listening to Armed Scholar, versus listening to Mr. Guns and Gadgets. Mr. Guns and Gadgets, this was SmackDown in the courts today, and this stops this, and this in this state. Boom, done. I'm like, yeah, that's what I wanted to know. If I want the details, then I'll go over to Armed Scholar. But Armed Scholar, with his shit gets on my damn nerves. Especially his whole groundbreaking, earth-shattering, big win. Like he's acting like there's gun news every damn day. And then he'll try to make videos that make it sound like it's gun news, but it's really his hypothetical theory because he's just trying to find a reason to put out content. Hate that shit. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.